Section 312 discusses power flow in a mechanically coupled system. And what we're going to look at, it's interesting with electrical machines. The motor is either supplying power or it's receiving power. We'll actually find out later on that this situation can be incorporated into a lot of different applications. And we can see that when this motor is supplying power to a load, it's acting as a motor. And there are some situations where the power flow is from the load back to the motor, and that motor in that situation is actually termed a generator. So it's an interesting interaction that's going on back and forth. And we want to be able to understand this concept of power flow. So as we look here at figure 313, what we're seeing is that the motor torque is in the same direction, or clockwise, as the speed of the system. So this means in that particular instance, when the torque is acting in the same direction as the speed, is what we're seeing is that the motor is supplying power to the load. And that's what figure 313 is all about. And consequently, the load receives mechanical power from the shaft, okay? So this is an electric motor, right? And there's this conversion going on, and we're converting electrical energy into mechanical energy through this mechanism of a connecting shaft. And so under those conditions, the motor is supplying power. Then he goes on in this section 312, and he makes this general rule. It says when the torque developed by a motor acts in the same direction as the speed, the motor delivers power to the load. Okay, delivering power to the load. For all other conditions, the motor receives power from the load. And we can see that in figure 314, this different situation. And we can see the power flow here, and the power is actually flowing from the load back to the motor. This interaction occurs throughout the operation of electrical machines. He goes on to say in this figure 314, here's the motor torque, right, in the clockwise direction. And now the speed is acting in the opposite direction. And in that case, the load is supplying power to the motor. And he gives us examples of this, and we'll look at some of the particulars of this as we move forward. But he says, although this is an unusual condition, it occurs for brief periods in electric trains, electric hoists, and we'll study some really current applications for this from hybrid vehicles or even from electric vehicles. And we'll look at how, this electrical machine can actually run through this gamut of function. It can be, motor, generator, motor, back and forth, depending on how the situation changes with the motor system.